It's time for a heavyweight battle in the women's division of the 2025 Division I College Championships. The number 1 seed, UBC Thunderbirds, taking on the number 8 seed, UNC Pleiades, live from beautiful Burlington, Washington, the Skagit River Sports Complex, the scene of this great battle to come. Theo Wan, joined by Danny Proby.
What's up?
This is going to be a great game. We've been looking forward to it all week.
Now, we have two heavyweights here. UBC coming in as the number 1 seed. They're 27-1 this season so far. UNC 13-5, so a little bit of a difference. But UNC coming off 4 straight back-to-back titles. Theo, when was the last time we saw this matchup?
2022 quarterfinals. I actually had the privilege of calling that game. And so it's been a few years. Some of those players have been holdovers from that time that are on these teams now. But despite the prowess that both of these teams have shown, they have not matched up since that time. So this is where we're at now. The first game for both sides, and Danny, I don't know how you feel about this, but the number 1 and 2 seeds in the pool going at it the first game of their tournaments.
This happened last year as well. So UBC came in as the number 1 seed and faced Tufts in that 10-hour game. And it was a lightning delay game, so people were in their cars. The game just lasted forever, and they ended up losing that game then as well. So last time they met was 2022 Nationals, as we said. Mika Kurashi, 2 goals, 3 assists. Maddie Ong, 1 goal and 5 assists in that game. UNC ended up winning 15-12, but it was close all the way through the stretch, right until the very end. So the fact that UBC still has Mika Kurashi and Madison Ong on their roster from that match is incredible.
Talk about incredible feats. That's UNC. Count it, 4 consecutive titles, going for an unprecedented 5th straight this year. They're coming in as the 8th seed. A lot of talk has been made about UBC, Tufts, Carleton, Colorado, but you cannot sleep on this Pleiades side. Despite the pieces they lost, they are a team to watch out for, gunning for that 5th straight title.
So we have UNC with 5 semifinals appearances, UBC with 6. Now, the interesting thing is, as you get deeper, Pleiades able to close it out. 4 finals to 2 finals for UBC, and then 4 titles to 1 title for UBC in their history. So 4 for 4. 4 times in a row that UNC has been in semifinals. They ended up coming home with the championship. Now, Mika Kurahashi, obviously a household name at this point. Player to watch. She's incredible. She is one of the most versatile cutters out there. Her one step to be able to get open in the initiation space is unparalleled. Her ability to score deep, unparalleled. She used to get fronted or backed a lot because she was so dangerous deep, but now her ability to get open in small spaces and score either under, through, or around is unstoppable. So here you get a good look at her just out positioning people, making big plays. She's been doing this since birth, ladies and gentlemen.
On the World Games team and U24. So just a lot of accolades going to Mika Kurahashi's name, and UNC's got to start their own. Kaylin Lauder having to play a large role. Right now they're on defense. Lauder is out there and is going to play both ways, a big downfield threat for them. And so Kaylin Lauder going to be relied upon, has won titles since 2021 with them, so 4 straight. One of those players that we talked about from the coaching staff who has not lost a game at Nationals. That is a crazy feat to hear out loud.
Yeah, especially after last year, everyone was saying it was going to be a rebuild year, a bit of a down year, and the fact that they were able to come from behind in so many of their games and pull it out is just a testament to these players not knowing how to lose. Now, Lauder, we did talk about defense and them being on the defense right now. They had 10 blocks at Nationals last year, and that is an incredible stat line. 10 blocks is not an easy feat, so expect that defensive pressure to be increased even more with 1 more year under their belt.
UNC in the darks, UBC rocking out the white jerseys with their standard offensive line. Madison Ong and Ella Bolin, 2 big-time handlers, number 17 and 15 respectively, will do a lot of the heavy lifting in the backfield for this UBC side. A big note is Erica Birdsong, number 49, who's a big-time player for this team, is out there on the field. We had questions of, is Birdsong going to suit up out there on the field right now?
That was something that has been the talk at the Ultiworld house, that has been the talk on Discord. Will she, won't she? But she will. Absolutely. She has been cleated up, warming up, and ready to play deep in their zone.
And that's what UNC will come out with as we see Birdsong hovering in the deep space right now. Kurahashi. Backhand force, at least right now, from UNC. One of the capable hands of Ella Bolin, who's had a really breakout year as a top handler for this team. Madoka Woke finding who else but Mika Kurahashi to start this game.
Has a really nice shape on that throw. There were two defenders in that area. There was a defender on the underside, and we had Birdsong kind of hunting in the backfield. But Madoka, know thy receiver, put it out into space with a little bit of edge so it doesn't float for too long to allow Mika Kurahashi to be able to attack it in that end zone.
The beauty of Nationals, as we get a look at some fans here, Danny, is that you only play 2 games a day. You get to just... You play a game, maybe you go back to the house and rest, but you can also take in a lot of the action. Certainly people enjoying the complex here we have in Burlington, Washington. The merch line's getting long. Anticipation is building. This is the second round of the tournament. I just came off a banger of a game with UC Santa Cruz and Georgia with the upset. So UNC hoping that some of that upset flow continues here on this field, as they're the 8th seed. Not a familiar spot for them, but they've been well coached. They have a plethora of coaches. We saw them getting practice in yesterday.
Yeah, we were kind of creeping. We were sitting in our car. They thought maybe we were the opponent scouting them, but
no, we were not.
Big media out here getting a look at their practice. So we have a completely new line here for UBC. They didn't look to cross over anybody from their original O-line.
Birdsong is crossing over, playing both ways now out on offense. Disc in the hands of Allie Riley. All-region player looking for Emily Shakuski, but it's too far. Lisa Way also in the area, but UBC will get a break opportunity. Lauren Zito Fung, the southpaw, with it. Finding Amelie Marshall. Riel Wong working in the backfield with Marshall. A good switch off there from Rachel Yao with Shakuski. This throw is going to pop, but Marshall is there. Doorstep of the end zone and a break. And Marshall finds Wong. UBC up 2-0.
Now, we did talk to both coaches ahead of time, and both coaches acknowledged that these teams play a very similar style, not only just downfield offense, but in terms of their end zone sets. Now, you got to see a really nice look at UBC's 2v2 dominator set in their end zone. So once they're in end zone, expect those two people to be cooking. Those two people will be running the show. Same thing with UNC. I think a few years ago, it was sort of the UNC special, the dominator end zone. They usually use more like a 3-person set. So we're getting a look at the turnover here. And then, again, just this clean end zone, working in small spaces. They get lots of practice at that with the first break of the game.
How is UNC going to respond here? We talked with Coach Walker Matthews, like I said, one of the many coaches on this team. Jesse Jones, Mary Rippey, Liam Searles-Bowes, and Jenny Way also on the staff. And we asked about expectation. This is a lot for some of these players having not lost at Nationals, going for a 5th straight title. He talked about it being a new year and trying to reset here. They do have rookies that aren't used to this, right? Often, for those rookies, this is their first time. So even though it feels old hat for some players, it's definitely new for others.
Absolutely, and we do see Birdsong out for a 3rd consecutive point. They're clearly still trying to gun for this, even though they're down a break early in this game.
Lauder also out there. UNC's player to watch. Bella Russell, who play a lot of defensive line for them out on the field, coming in instead of Yao. Birdsong finding Lauder. Birdsong changes a lot of things for their offense. Great to see number 49 in dark out on the field. Birdsong. They get the hold, finding Katie Friedenberg.
Now, UBC playing a bit of a backing style defense there, and UNC was doing a great job of just taking what was being given, taking those undercuts, making those slashes, and eventually working it up the break side and scoring very easily on that high side. So once they were able to get this break off here, their offense was able to flow a little bit more to that side. Sorry, this break off here, then the offense is able to flow. So UBC applying a lot of pressure on that open side, doing a great job of wrapping on the mark, but once they're able to get it to that high side, the score will flow.
Friedenberg getting on the board here. North Carolina off the schneid. This is the first game for both teams of this tournament.
Can't really guard, we just have to find our timing, right? Like,
now, Friedenberg was a decent contributor last year already, is going to be taking an even bigger role this year. 4 goals and 3 blocks last year. Again, like every year you graduate. That's the special thing about college, is that your time here is finite. So we do graduate really key players every year, and it allows for people to step up. It allows for people to take bigger roles as well.
UBC back out on offense. Disc in the hands of Matty Ong. Bolin stepping through, finding Kurahashi. Going around to Miyu Shiraiwa. Bolin's going to draw the Alex Hecht matchup right now. Hudson on Ong. Verona Hua going up the line, finding Shiraiwa. Right on the end zone cone, but a couple players tumble. No call as play will resume. Bolin. Perhaps too fast for Ong, so that's the first turnover for UBC in this game.
Now, they were kind of starting to be in their dom set, but Mika Kurahashi having a little bit of collision there and not able to finish it. They try to reverse, and yeah, as you said, a little bit too quick maybe. Big huck is put up, and that's going to be overcooked.
Abby Stevens, fourth-year player on this team, the intended target, but not able to cash in on the break chance was North Carolina. All looking for a reset, finding one in Bolin. Kurahashi had to reach back to make that grab. Was told before the game, Claudia Dare going to draw that Kurahashi matchup, and it's another turnover for the Thunderbirds. Now red zone opportunity with Macy Hudson set to pick up. Playing Club Ultimate with Durham Toro, the mixed team. Trying to quarterback this D-line. Finding Alex Hecht. Not able to complete that one to Dara Bubel. So 2 turnovers apiece on this 4th point of the game. Kurahashi power position, no one going deep, and now looking for Woke. That will travel out of bounds.
A smart help defense by UNC there. You can tell that UBC is trying to create isolation spaces on that away side from the camera here. And we did have a deep poach. They can tell which cutters are active, which cutters are not active. So they were able to make that help and make that throw a little bit tighter. It's harder to make it float. And we do note that the disc did not come back in bounds, so it is where the throw was released is where we're bringing it back.
Hecht, Boston, Massachusetts product. One of the few out-of-state players. A lot of players built in from the North Carolina area. Hecht being from the New England region. Bella Russell keeping things alive. Finding Dare. Now to the aforementioned Hecht. Hecht looking into the end zone. A good effort there from Martha Plain, but that'll be a 3rd turnover.
I like the vision there. I think that throw can be quite devastating to a defense. Right now there is a little bit of a wind going that direction, so it is kind of going across and allowing that throw to sail maybe a little bit faster than it normally would have. Now we're going to be having a timeout call here, which makes sense. Both teams need to kind of settle down a little bit. That's 3 turnovers apiece for each side. UBC recognizing that they need to settle down a little bit here too.
We talk about expectations for this UNC side. We can also look at the UBC outfit. You mentioned on the top there, Danny, 1 loss on the season. That was a blowout semifinal loss to Colorado at Northwest Challenge. Otherwise unblemished for their record.
And UBC is definitely plagued by this history of, how do you say it, just underperforming based on expectations. The regular season is always so strong for this group because a lot of times their rookies come in and they're already quite experienced, whereas on other teams the rookies are developing or crossing over from other sports. So we're going to get a listen into Coach Guo here with the UBC squad.
But they might just sit the way.
Offense, 20 seconds.
Sure. We'll just run a 3-2 mute from the 2, okay? Mika, you're in the 1, Nina, Badoka, you're 3-4, Nina 3, middle over, you go out. Go single on, sure, double 3.
Coach Guo recently coaching the U20 mixed team to a silver medal. Also part of the Team Canada World Games support staff.
All 15 of them. There's more support staff than players on that team.
But Canada choosing to go with the larger support staffs for that World Games grouping. Mika Kurahashi part of that squad. UNC coming on the zone. No foul called. Bubel with the block. Bubel getting involved. Bella Russell, big backhand fake. Bubel fell to the turf. We saw very slippery conditions at D3 with a lot of rain coming down. Right now the Sun trying to peek through here with a high release flick from Russell. That is not going to work out. So 4 turnovers each on this point. Hua was in power position, but now we'll reset to Ong. It's hard to believe, as you mentioned, Danny, that Ong was in that 2022 game. Still out here gunslinging for this UBC side.
Still has another year of eligibility, I believe.
Ong going up the line. Looking deep into the end zone, or just short of it, but it's taken away. Abby Stevens. Turnovers climbing up on this point. Bubel looking deep. This is plain once again.
It's not adjusting to the wind. It is picking up more now than in the first round. That you see Ong's throw not quite make it as far as I think she was expecting on the upwind side, and all of UNC's throws are carrying a little quick on this downwind side. So now UNC is in person defense. After the timeout, they were able to set up a zone, but now we're going to be able to see the match as well. We're going to see Mika Kurahashi in the isolation space. Do have an injury substitution. Madoka Woke is coming out and Claire Wang is coming in. So we have Louder taking the Mika Kurahashi matchup. UNC definitely talked about how that's a big part of their game plan. Mika Kurahashi is such a great initiator and is pretty integral to UBC's offense. So if she's able to be neutralized even a little bit, that can be very effective. We do have another turnover short field.
6 turnover from the Thunderbirds. Louder had come off for the injury sub and is now going to try to help this offense. Hecht finding Louder. Thought about Dare on the around. Instead it's a reset to Hudson. Back and forth. Hudson finds a teammate there in Abby Stevens. We got a tie game.
We talked about this a lot at D3. We talked about this a lot last round, even on Field Pass, that sometimes when you score these super long points, these super gritty points, they can feel like more than 1 point. It can feel like you just won a much bigger battle within the war. So we're going to see a bunch of turns here in a row. We're going to see Russell with the disc here, trying to get that touch IO throw, which can be quite challenging with a big mark. And again, just seeing the impacts of the wind here on some of these throws, being over or undercooked.
Stevens got a block on that point, so we'll count it bookends for number 28 in dark. UNC marching out their defensive line, looking for a second consecutive break and third point overall. We're looking for celebration from Pleiades' sideline. They came in very focused, but brought in the energy right now with that break.
Yeah, obviously a necessary break. UBC is a team that loves their momentum, and UNC is a team that always believes that they can win any game, so this is going to be a real barn burner.
See the semifinal from last year as evidence of UNC's comeback ability.
If you haven't seen that game, you'll be on the edge of your seat. You won't believe the ending once you see the beginning.
Allie Riley out there on defensive line, same with Kaylin Lauder. So Riley and Lauder playing a lot of minutes. Some of the stars from the past, like Dawn Colton, Teresa Yu, some other contributors like Sarah Coombs, not on this team anymore. So other people are going to have to step up.
Kurahashi not out for this second O point for UBC. Neither is Madoka Woke.
Woke had come off the injury sub. Here's Jamie Jung finding Mandy Lee, who then flips it forward, finding Claire Wang. Quick response with some of those offensive line players not on the field.
So one thing, after a long gritty point, talked about those points kind of feeling like they're worth more. There's nothing more devastating to the team that gets that long gritty break than when a team just does like a 3-pass quick easy hold. It kind of feels like it neutralizes all the work that you did. Obviously not getting that break was extremely important for UNC, especially to believe that they can get breaks against the number 1 seed. But great response by UBC. They just look composed, settled, back to business.
Saw how quick this UBC offense moved here. A lot of UNC players not within the vicinity of any white jerseys. So we see Dara Bubel coming back out on the field for UNC. So took an injury sub earlier. And as I say that, it's going to walk off the field right now. So UNC not going to go with Bubel, at least on this offensive point.
Now the thrower and the assist there, we had Claire Wang and Mandy Lee. They are both high school teammates. They also played on the same club team for a little bit last year called TT. So they've got great chemistry. So I'm unsurprised that connection happened on that point.
Shakuski, big time handler for this team. Inside shot to Riley. Running Louder. Emily Marshall trying to play some tight reset defense on Shakuski right now. Wang is on Birdsong.
I like the Wang Birdsong matchup. Birdsong obviously quite a long player, but Claire Wang incredibly fast. Knowing that Birdsong hasn't been able to log the minutes so far this year, I think that Wang is a nice matchup to be able to kind of force Birdsong to run a bit more. And we have a miscue on the field in the reset space.
Marshall finding Jamie Jung. Big grab there from Wang to keep things alive for this D-line offense. Quarterback by Zito Fung and Emily Marshall, 2 players that play for Red Flag. Both of these programs have a lot of that junior to club and now this university pipeline, a lot of local talent for both sides. Riel Wong. Everything's going to the break side here. Isabella Lin. Resetting to Emily Marshall. Ball count was rising, so I had to reset it there. Birdsong lays out, got to get back on the feet, does so. Battling with Wang right now. Disciplined end zone offense here from the Thunderbirds. Emily Marshall gets free of Shakuski. UBC gets a break.
Yeah, very necessary break back for UBC to settle them a little bit. Again, that was a very different end zone look than we saw from this D-line the first time they were getting their break. They weren't running their dominator. A lot more people were getting involved. They were trying to work the break side in a little bit more traditional of a way. So if you're UNC, you were so excited you got that break, but then UBC able to get the hold and the break back right away.
So I see what you're saying, Danny, how that much was a momentum killer perhaps to have that quick offensive hold. Birdsong not able to find Shakuski.
So you see this really nice cut here by Marshall. Just absolutely saw that the defender overcommitted to that side and was able to bleed it out into the end zone. Marshall going to be a big contributor to this team. He's been running this D-line, opts to play D-line. Every time that Marshall's given the opportunity to play O-line, it's a no thank you. Likes that D-line grind life, likes taking tough matchups on resets, and likes being involved in scoring.
D-line dogs. So we got out here. Some people prefer to play on that side of the disc.
Not me. I could never.
On Universe, a lot of teams would prefer to come out on defense. You can just go out and try to play aggressive defense and try to hunt for a block. A lot more pressure there out on offense.
There's no harder hold than a uni hold.
UNC trying to get a hold here after bleeding their second break of the game. Bella Russell out on the field in the backfield once again in Yao's place. Bubel also back out on the pitch. Took an injury sub a couple points ago. Birdsong. We'll be playing with the U24 mixed team coming up later this summer is Birdsong. Getting free. Now in the hands of Riley. Riley does have Birdsong. Still drawing that Wang matchup. That's Bubel coming through and eventually finding Bella Russell. So UNC staving off some of that UBC momentum with the hold.
Very impressed with Birdsong so far. Knowing that she was not able to even finish or do an entire practice leading up to this point, to be able to log the minutes that she's doing and taking a matchup like Claire Wang, who's one of the most ferocious defenders in the game right now, and to be able to be this composed with these kinds of throws is incredible. And we get to look at the score here. Russell usually on the throwing end of it, but getting the score there, adding a little bit more to the dynamicism of these players that were big contributors last year, taking bigger roles this year. You know, when you have someone like Dawn Colton on your team for 4 years straight, you always kind of have a get out of jail free card. You're like, okay, stall 8, stall 9, where is Colton? They don't have that anymore, so they're needing every single player on the team to step up more this year, and we're seeing a little bit more of a balanced approach to their scoring.
Russell, the Apex North Carolina product, set to pull for this team. Often you'll see Russell come over for that 0-2 point. Just saw it on that last one. Bolin set to center to Ong. Abby Stevens, who caught the only break so far for UNC, out there hunting for a block. Going up against Bolin right now as Woke, also coming off an injury earlier in the game, is now cleared to go return to action. Dare once again on Kurahashi. Was told before the game that is the matchup they're going to start with, and we'll see if that ebbs and flows to some other personnel as this contest progresses. Woke power position. Keeping things going now up the line. Shiraiwa. A couple players there. It's Kurahashi. I think there might be a pick call here or something, as both players have stopped.
Definitely getting a little tangled up there. be able to listen into the call here.
We do have a foul called in the end zone.
Were you my check? Yeah. Can I make it? I feel like your positioning wise, you were in front of me because I was positioned behind you. And I feel like you were maybe caught off guard by like my motion as well. But I feel like they probably would have ran into me and that like they were coming in this way.
I don't think it matters. They were like running through a group of people on the field. I think that's pretty dangerous when we're going out to make a play.
So, Shiro talking about whether they maybe would have had a play and whether Kurahashi coming through there would have been a bit dangerous, but it looks like UBC had initially missed it, and then there were just a lot of players kind of going into that space, a bit of a hospital pass. These throws are kind of popping up onto this side.
Okay, do you want me to rule?
They're going to go to the
observer.
observer.
Ruling is no dangerous play and no foul, so it's going to be inbounds here and a goal.
Okay, so we have a goal after all. I mean, I'm personally fine with that. It did feel like Kurahashi and, both the offensive player and the defensive player are coming in there into that same space. It was missed by the original offense and defense, went over their heads. So I'm okay with that, personally. Not that it matters.
Nina Sai, the rookie, throwing that goal. 4-star recruit according to the Ultiworld rankings here. Big-time contributor in their first year on the squad. Get a look at one of the other coaches, Victoria Lamb, former Team Canada player who has done a lot in the coaching scene in the Vancouver area and nationally as well.
Yeah, the juniors in Vancouver absolutely adore Vic Lamb. Just big crowd favorite. So another look at the play here. Just kind of good heads up from Kurahashi to know that that was going to probably pop over. We're going to see a lot of discs popping up on that high side. Now, one thing that I find interesting, there have been quite a few turns in this game, considering how early on it is. UNC has logged 3 blocks on 5 turnovers, and UBC has logged 1 block on 6 turnovers. So this tail of that, or what that tells me, is that UNC is actually applying a lot of pressure, whereas UBC's kind of more sloughy, junky stuff is forcing UNC to make their own turnovers themselves.
Jordan Britt, the rookie, a player that we were told to keep an eye out on as an up-and-coming baller for this UNC team out on O-line. Shakuski looking for Friedenberg. 2 hands. Finding Bubel. Down near the end zone for Riley. Shakuski trying to get free. And coming off the back end, not able to grab that one, was Friedenberg. Turnovers starting to pile up for this UNC side. A lot of them unforced, as you mentioned.
We need you.
O-line applying a zone defense right now as Russell hovering into that deep territory near midfield. High release throw, taken away. Good safe play there from Friedenberg. Could have been a possible collision, but made the play and got out of the way as quick as possible. Still an offensive point for this UNC side. Riley, a couple fakes. I think Shakuski. Shakuski been quiet so far, but if Pleiades are to be successful, you'll see number 3's hands all over this game. Riley looking for Birdsong. Birdsong laying out for the score and the hold.
You see that very comfortable dom set from UNC. They play a lot of mini there in North Carolina, and you see them looking really calm and composed, allowing those 3 people to work. They might not get the first look, they might not get the second look, but there's always somebody there to help out.
And what's set up there too, Danny, is the stack has to be pushed back, right? You can't have people creeping up trying to get inside that dominator set.
Yeah, it is tough because you see teams see the dominator happening and then they do want to kind of poach off. But UNC's got a lot of throwers that can knife some blades in there, so it can be dangerous to leave your check unattended in the end zone. Do you see the pop throw, this high release? It's so tempting in that zone because you can kind of see those players. But sometimes these pop backhands, and I am a big culprit of it, but these pop backhands are a little bit slow, so it allows defenders to kind of come in and get there right away. Now, shout out to the UNC players because they did set up their zone in such a nice way. When the disc is on that corner, it is really hard for a D-line's offense who doesn't get as many zone reps throughout the season as, say, an O-line would. So being able to trap them on that sideline right away was just very smart defense by UNC.
Bella Russell on the pull for Pleiades.
See the UBC O-line. They're looking a little serious right now. They know they would like these holds to come a little bit easier than they have. An amazing pull by UNC.
Shakuski out on this defensive point. Same thing with Riley, Birdsong, and Bubel. As UBC out on the move. Thought maybe too fast with Nina's side, but will retain possession.
It always is one too many when you're dribbling.
You were able to dribble past midfield as Bolin trying to direct traffic. Shariah was trying to slash through, but Riley comes in for the block.
Again, UBC's turns coming from defensive pressure. UNC actually being able to get a hand on it and actually be able to make a play on it versus unforced errors.
Woe covering the deep space will get credited with the slap down block.
Just a field position punt if I've ever seen one.
Long telling players to come closer. Finding Bolin. Bolin out of the state of Washington playing at UBC. And that throw too far for Bolin, but Alm's going to catch it. There's going to be some discussion on if it was out. Observer ruling it is out. That's Dan Lorela.
UBC really struggling to keep these throws low and their fast break going into the upwind.
Shakuski looking deep for Birdsong. Great throw, and UNC breaks back.
Now, a lot of fans have been wanting this game for years, and this is why. UBC obviously coming in as the favorite. UNC, hard to never say that they're a favorite when they won 4 straight championships. Right now we're in a tie game. Not only clean holds, we're getting breaks, we're getting hucks, we're getting big blocks. Incredible throw in that downwind side. So again, we have this little ball sometimes moving a little bit too quick. There's a you want to move what do you say, fast but not rushed, quick but not fast. There's something there, but they unfortunately, good play by Madison Ong to try to keep it inbounds with just out of bounds, and then just an absolute dot put into the end zone here for Birdsong.
And it seemed like that was UNC's strategy on the last 2 defensive possessions. They were just looking to aim to take it deep and play some of that field position game out here. That line had a lot of big offensive contributors on their team out there. So they stacked up the line and able to generate that couple blocks and then eventually the cash-in break.
When that kind of thing happens, you feel like when you're a coach and you stack that line to try to push for a break and it works, you feel a little bit like a genius. So these coaches out here, we know that they're not shy of using good strategy, knowing how to win, knowing how to apply pressure. Right now, it's working because we got a tie game.
Hudson, who was not out on that point, is going to be taking on Ong, but that throw too low for Wang. So UNC, second straight break opportunity. Louder had it taken away by Kurahashi. You can see how fast UBC likes to move, especially when they're able to generate a turnover. Kurahashi coming to the open side, pressure from Louder. Able to stay in bounds. Jung, normally a D-line player out here on offense. Big wraparound mark from Russell. High stall. Bolin is there. See real pressure from these handler defenders from Pleiades. Really causing fits right now for UBC. See those rolls as well. Really switching off. Bolin calling a foul on Abby Stevens. Not happy with the level of contact at that front cone.
Bolin known for her fiery nature. It's very fun, it's very exciting, but can kind of get a little fired up when there's contact especially.
Able to save that one. Looking for the vision to Jamie Jung. And a big hold after what felt like a lot of UNC momentum.
Yeah, so turnovers traded one way or the other. Mika Kurahashi getting a nice block to get the possession back for UBC. But if you're UNC, you're feeling like, okay, you're getting these opportunities. You're getting opportunities to get breaks. You're getting turns on what has been touted as the most efficient, excellent offense in college this year. So nice grab there by Jamie Jung. So we're going to get a look at their end zone here. So if we can pause it here. So we're kind of in this space where they're running. They're like 2v2 dom. So it's these two that are engaged in here. And they do a great job. So at this point, they just circle around. And pause here. They had a really nice switch there. But if you see a little bit farther, the cutters and the defender are going to go this way. And the defender bites a little bit there, and then Jamie Jung's able to get a little bit more separation. So it is really hard to defend these small spaces, but a lot of times we talk about making sharp angle cuts, but often, I don't want to say banana cuts, but these circle cuts can actually be quite effective for sealing out and scooping people in the end zone. And even though switches are really impactful in a dominator set, you can only do it so long before you let somebody free like that.
Requires certainly a lot of communication. As Yao back out on the O-line, finding Shakuski. If you're just tuning in, first of all, we thank you for joining us here if you're watching on Ultiworld.com or on YouTube. This game on serve, UBC starting out on offense. Both teams notching a couple breaks. And UNC looking to get their 6th point of the contest with the hands of Yao. Finding Riley. Riley has Bubel going into the deep space. And a great effort. But it will be a turnover for their offense. Isabella Lynn finding Amelie Marshall. I'm telling a couple players to come in, but that throw is going to hit the turf and evade the UBC hands. Sun's starting to peer through here as Shakuski looking to the end zone for Birdsong. Birdsong, two-hand stuff for the hold.
I believe that's 3 straight for Birdsong. Welcome back to Ultimate Frisbee. Erica Birdsong, we have missed you. So UBC looking a little unsettled right now, looking a little spooked. We know that when you have a pretty much unblemished season as they did, a 27-1 record, you're not facing as much adversity. A lot of their games were blowouts. A lot of their games were their D-line pulling and not so much their O-line getting broken and having to fight through it. And the one time we did see them kind of struggle like that, it did not go well for them. So this is a great opportunity for them to practice. So we're going to get a little look at Erica Birdsong and how she's impacted this game already. So not only on the scoring side, but she's throwing goals, catching goals, big layouts, big skies, everything that we know and love about this player on display here. Incredible grab. Just to keep it just in bounds there. And we're going to get another look at the sky as well, or this run down, and then the sky is going to be next. Not exactly the easiest defender either. So 2 defenders, still goes up strong, takes that contact. it's business as usual for Birdsong.
Birdsong, Lauder, Shakuski out on the field for this UNC side right now. Remember, when they were able to stack their D-line a few points ago, they did get a break to tie things up at 5. So they're hoping that same recipe yields good results on this point. Unmarked right now for UBC. Still unmarked is Mandy Lee. Slicing through, Riley was hunting for that poach block. We hear fires called from the sideline as they go into traditional person look in this UBC end zone set. Boland trying to go give and go. Shiraiwa doing the same. Not in, has been called. And then Kurohashi squeaks her way into the end zone area.
Kurohashi and scoring at the front of the end zone. Name a more iconic duo. UBC with the necessary hold here to try to push to get that coveted break to take half.
And that was with a lot of those UNC big-time players out on defense. So now they got to go back out on offense here.
I mean, luckily, not luckily, but luckily it was not a super long point. So even though they did push for it, it wasn't one of those ones where you gamble and you regret it. Like, those players still probably feel fine, a little bit of water, they're good to go.
UNC calling their first timeout here. Coming out on offense. Saw Liam Searles Bowes talking to the grouping, and it does make sense, Danny, with them expending some of those O-line players for that previous defensive point. Get a timeout, let them go back on the field a little bit more well-rested.
Yeah, so if you have any timeouts in the bank, this is exactly the right time to be using them. It's a gift to be able to have them in your back pocket as a coach. To be able to push to double shift, it's exactly what you need to be using it for. And, you know, we're pretty picky about our timeouts here. We're pretty judgmental here with Ultiworld, but I like this call.
You still have one in the bank too, right? If you want to use that, perhaps if you get the score and then you try to break for half.
Yeah, around the complex, we've got Cal Poly Slow in the men's division up 8-6 on UBC Thunderbirds. We've got California tied 7-7 against Michigan.
There's some tight games out here.
We got Cal Poly Slow down 4-7 to UC San Diego. I wouldn't say it's an upset. It's the 12 seed versus the 13 seed, but still, it's a 3-point margin. And then we've got this game again. We got 7-6, UBC leading by 1.
A lot of Southwest teams, so Southwest crime right there. And we got some Northwest crime with Washington up on Utah. Critical O point here, which means Bella Russell out on the field for Pleiades. Marshall once again on Shakuski. Birdsong has Way entering the deep space, but we'll look for a handler instead in Shakuski. Everything underneath right now for this UNC side. A lot of contact there, but UBell is up to the task and will throw this out, looking for Way. Layout to layout. UNC getting the hold.
To be able to make a catch like that under pressure with someone like Kurohashi breathing down your neck, to get up, to put that throw downwind into space. So often we see people overcook that throw. They overeat it. Their adrenaline is pumping. But to be able to go downwind, touch, that was just an absolute perfectly placed throw. And we were tied up at 7s.
Way playing for the B team for a couple seasons, slotting into the A team as of last year, making an impact right there.
I got that layout, and it was awesome.
We do lose a lot of players from last year that were big names for both of these teams, but more impactful, I think, was on this UNC team. They lost Caroline Spencer, they lost Sharisa Yu, they lost Dawn Colton, and many others as big contributors. But right now it's allowing all these players to step up and shine in these big moments. And like a dime throw, awesome Selly as well.
Timeout being called by UBC. So both coaches electing to call timeouts on O points out here. Walker Matthews offering instruction. Jones, Rippey, and Way are also out there as coaches.
Very different body language from both these teams on the line. See, UBC, oh, never mind. Right as I said that, smiles on the UBC players, but
they heard you.
They heard me. The UNC players looking a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more kind of connected, and the UBC players originally looked a little bit quieter, but seeing smiles makes them, I'm sure, just happens to make you a little bit more relaxed. This is Coach Jonathan He here talking to the sideline, kind of working through some things. First time coach of this team this year. Another look at this. Perfect throw. A little risky to kind of lay out. I think that sometimes people would say, oh, just take one more step and catch that. It would have had to be maybe a one-hand catch. But if you are someone like Way and you know how to make that catch and maintain that ground contact to keep that Frisbee in your hands, then that's the safe play.
Russell, Hudson, Dare, Riley, Lauder, Hecht, and Birdsong out on this defensive point. This is the point for half. Kurahashi working against Lauder. Lauder playing some good defense to shut off the initial option. Eventually Kurahashi finding Marshall as they work it to the break side. Lee picked up by Shiraiwa. Shiraiwa looking for Kurahashi and not able to connect.
Now UNC's break chance for Galaxy Point. Are we allowed to say Galaxy Point or is that cringy?
I don't say it, but you can, Danny, if you'd like.
All right, excellent. Galaxy Point here, and for momentum going into the second half.
This game is on serve as of right now, but UNC trying to change that by getting a break to take it into halftime. Great pressure from Wolk. Birdsong there, throwing through the contact to Hecht. Russell going to the deep space. But it's back and forth with Hudson and Riley. This UNC team battle tested, of course. And this is a very important point right now with Lauder working against Marshall. UNC starting on offense, so a chance to break seems very critical at this moment of the contest as Russell inside. Dare, two hands to be safe. Red zone territory now for Pleiades. Hudson had Lauder stumble, so has to look for another option in Russell. You can see a timeout in the pocket if they want to use it here. Birdsong again taking the contact of Wolk. That's the second time on this point that Birdsong's had to do that. Living on the edge right now is UNC. Russell into the end zone for Lauder. But there is some discussion with Lauder and Marshall, so don't celebrate just yet if you're a UNC fan out there.
Yeah, both teams clearly recognizing how important this is. They're grinding, they're tight, there's pressure all over the place. UNC's doing a great job of making these catches at extension and really using the length of their arms, but let's listen into the call.
At the same time. Yeah. Okay. Retracted.
So retracted, we have a break for UNC to take half. Maybe a bit of an unexpected finish to this first half based on how both these teams kind of came into this tournament. But right now, again, like all those people sleeping on UNC, you can never sleep on UNC. It's always a bad bet. So we're going to take a half and we're going to see how both these teams can regroup and come out stronger in the second half.
Louder playing a lot of minutes on both sides of the disc. UNC going to come out on offense in the second half. They're riding some momentum right now, taking the contact, keeping things alive as they're up at half, 8-7 over the 1 seed.
On the grand stage, the key possession, huge bid, gets the delivery, opportunity to determine that they break with ease. Throw it the full 80 yards to the field? Are you kidding me? And an incredible catch. Are you kidding me? Oh my God! One of the plays of the year.
Come here, come again. Close. Don't be afraid, no, I don't wanna hurt you. A little more, come in, let me just show you. Don't know, you can't stop, let me just show you. Don't be obsessive, it could be intensive, it could be expressive, it could be offensive. Don't be defensive.
Halftime scenes and views from beautiful Burlington, Washington. UNC, the 8 seed, up on the 1 seed, 8-7, close and slimmest of margins here. We're joined by UBC coach Edward Guo. Edward, thank you for joining us. Down by 1 in the first half, we saw UNC break to take half. What did you see on that final point for half there?
Offensively, I thought we did really well. Sometimes just one pass doesn't go your way, and I think UNC played very clean, took everything that was given, connected on a ton of passes, and stayed very patient, which is just a mark of a really strong team.
Now, how much does your record coming into this tournament, 27-1, there hasn't been a ton of games where you've been kind of behind. How do you kind of ramp up your team in the halftime here to make sure that you're coming out firing in the second half?
Yeah, I think just staying confident in what we've practiced all year. I think try not to divert too much from our base strategies is going to be important. It's easy just to try to do a lot of different things, whether that's hucking or breaks or whatever we don't usually do. But I think if we can just stay composed and disciplined in our strategies, I think we have a shot to, try to take the second half.
Ella Bolinas is someone that's really stepped up for your team this year. Talk about her impact on the offensive line and having her crossover as well.
Yeah, she's been an extremely steady presence, great with the disc, also very nimble and able to get open. She's just been one of our stronger release valves on the team, whether it's with a throw or a cut. So we really appreciate her on the O-line, just be able to get us out of jams.
All right, Edward, we thank you for your time. We're going to see a lot of Ella in the second half as UBC tries to make a run here. Thank you for joining us, Edward.
Thank you.
We talked about thin margins here, Danny. Look at the stat line.
Yeah, so 5 holds apiece, 4 and 3 clean holds. Total turnovers, very, very similar. Breaks, very, very similar, but break chances. UNC's actually had a substantially higher amount of break chances, and when you're given more chances to get breaks, you're going to get more breaks, and UNC edged out UBC just a little bit by breaks in the end. And we did talk a lot that UNC is creating the turnovers. They're creating the turnovers with the pressure that they're giving, versus UBC is just throwing it away a little bit more. UNC is just throwing it away a little bit more. So UNC applying a lot of pressure, and it's showing while they're being up 1 break going into the second half.
Joining us now is one of the UNC coaches, Liam Searles-Bowes. Liam, thank you for taking time at halftime here. We saw UBC go up early 2-0. What was said to your squad as UBC was hunting for that 3rd straight point early in the contest?
Breathe, smile, settle in. First game at Nationals, so it's like a little bit of jitters are normal, and I think we've gotten to that point now, settled into the game, and ready for the second half.
Now, the body language of your team, it's really hard to tell when you're down 2-0 and when you're getting breaks. Like, obviously your team's really excited, but on the line, your team looks pretty much the same at all times. They look kind of relaxed. They kind of look composed. Is this something you've been addressing throughout the season about kind of how to ride the highs and lows of the game?
I mean, it's something we've been building for more than a season. You know, it's a trust and a love that, you know, in any situation, like, we're going to bet on us, and we're going to support each other in whatever circumstance we come into. So, yeah, building it, you know, every day.
Looking to kind of the on-field tactical stuff, your D-line able to generate a lot of turnovers, as Danny said earlier. So are there any adjustments you're trying to make defensively, or sticking to what the game plan you've had so far?
We're definitely making adjustments, you know, little tweaks and you know, maybe some bigger changes. But the offense is the thing right now, attacking with our legs, creating momentum that we can then counter instead of holding and looking.
All right, Liam, thank you for joining us, and wish you and your team the best of luck here in the second half.
Thank you.
Getting great insight from both coaches here, as we know that these coaching staffs are going to try to make adjustments right now. UNC hoping to ride some of that momentum as they hold an 8-7 lead.
On the grand stage, the key possession. Huge bid, gets the dog. Great opportunity for the Germans, and they break with ease. Throw it the full 80 yards to the field. Are you kidding me? And an incredible pick. Are you kidding me? Oh my God! One of the plays of the year.
Hey yo, the rain was steady pouring, heard the drop, this was meant to be. Shelling in my crib, no doubt. Beat the scenery, telephone ringing and stopped before I could answer it. I heard it knock at the door, so I answered it. And with Jermaine, he had a little situation. Beef up on the block, and Orthodox that led the confrontation. He said these cats be acting hard on the block.
It's time to get the second half started. This heavyweight Pool A matchup, the 1 seed UBC Thunderbirds down 1 to the 8 seed UNC Pleiades. Theo Wan joined by Danny Proby. Very excited to bring you this contest as Bella Russell looking deep. Wang poaching off the back will get the block. Kurahashi out on this defensive point. Same thing with Ella Bolin. So you heard Coach Edward Grove talk about Bolin's impact on the offensive side of the disc. And we'll get a chance to do that now. Zito Fung. Kurahashi has Jung going deep, but instead of reset to Bolin and some discussion on who got there first.
I love it when, even though you can make a call and you don't need to try to hold on to the disc, players always try to hold on to it as if it's like it'll help make their case.
It's like, if you would like to listen to perspective from your... Sure, we can listen. Except here, wait, can we rotate? Yeah. Except I am also still catching the outside.
Clearly both not wanting to let go of the disc.
Do you have anything? Great.
We can go to the observer field.
All right, so the observer ruling, I didn't have anything. We're going to leave it contested. Your bodies were in between me, so we're going to send it back to the thrower.
Who got it? You?
Do we have a stall count here, y'all?
So normally when Team Orange is unsure, they have to be 90% sure. That's what they told us last weekend. 90% sure or more. If they say that it's less than that, they will not make a ruling, and they'll opt to send it back.
Spinning around the mark is Louder, hunting for a block. Instead, it's Wang. Wang's been on birdsong throughout this contest. Marshall Wishakowski. See what the coaches like to dial up with similar matchups. Stack a lot underneath right now for UBC. Great grab from Wang, chugging a lot of yards working against Birdsong. Jung bats it, then gets it on the second effort. Riel Wong moving things with Zito Fung. Wong finds Wang, and UBC breaks to start this second half.
Pretty hard thing to do after getting broken to take half, to sit in your fields for those 5 minutes in between and then come out, be able to make that type of play all the way up the field. And I really like the defensive pressure that UNC was applying. They were doing a bit of a forced middle, but once they were out to end zone, you could hear them kind of calling fire, which usually means melt. Fire, it means change your defensive scheme to the next thing. And then they ended up forcing to that side, but it was too late. UBC had kind of broken through with some nice through shots through this middle. So we're going to look at the turnover here. Just well read by Claire Wang, who makes no problems catching that. And then again, we're just a little bit out of position, which is the risk. Forced middle can create confusion. It can create chaos. But when you do break through it, it does leave the downfield defenders often out of position, especially if it's not clear whether it's supposed to be a home or away force at the time. So right now we have ourselves a tie ball game. Great response by UBC after half.
UNC loves the cheers. They always got a bevy of things they want to share from the sideline, and certainly they need that energy, having bled that first break of the second half. You talked about, Danny, how teams can sit and stew with being broken to take half on the UBC side, but they're able to bounce back. Mentioned this already, but the last time they played, 2022 quarters. The last 2 seasons with both of these teams being highly rated and ranked, not able to play each other. Fredenberg on this close sideline. A couple players heading into the area, so going around to Shakuski, who had to dip back for that one. Looking for Louder, but Zito Fung going to spike that down.
And an immediate turnover by UBC.
Riley was hunting in the area, working against Jung. Riley trying to set up her cut in the backfield. Instead, it's a flub catch by Louder. Bolin out again on this defensive point. No Kurahashi though, so coaches of UBC deciding to enlist a couple different personnel changes. High stall for Marshall, gets rid of it to Bolin. Isabella Lynn had Wang going to the open side. Now we'll find a reset to Marshall. Marshall being very calm as a D-line handler for them right now. UNC trying to switch everything. Marshall going up the line. And another break for UBC. Bolin finds Marshall.
Marshall not afraid of big moments. She was on the U20 team in Poland that won bronze in 2022, I believe. Was a captain for the U24 mixed team for Canada in 2023 and is on the U24 women's team this year. So big moments, big pressure, and being composed when the moment is big is not something that Marshall is afraid of.
You mentioned UNC trying to make those switches. I think Louder perhaps was expecting that one again. And this is where you kind of get curious of what line personnel do you use. We've talked a bit about their pieces that they've lost. And so where is that production going to come from now here on this offensive side of the ball?
I have just been translated from Canadian to American that in a lot of places fire means melt to a forced flick, whereas in Canada to me that means melt, meaning
that just
stop.
means straight melt.
Yeah, it's for you too, right? Because I know we're different parts of Canada. Canada is massive. It also means melt for you?
Yes, fire or people will just say melt. We know there's a difference when people say no strike. We often in Canada will say no upline, but Americans will say no strike.
Yeah, strike means go deep to us, so it can be very confusing. So UBC 2 straight breaks. UNC taking their time to regroup, get their squad back in it. They know that they can get breaks on this team. They know that they can fluster UBC. They know that that forced middle is likely going to be causing some chaos and some confusion. But UBC making the necessary adjustments in the second half.
This timeout makes a lot of sense for UNC. I know we talk a lot about timeouts, Danny, but
you got to educate the people.
This one going down or giving up 2 straight breaks, I think this one makes sense. I know it's early in the second half, but the momentum clearly on the team from Vancouver, British Columbia. So you definitely want to try to stave off some of that momentum right now, and calling a timeout may help with that.
Now, one interesting fact, if you haven't been following college women's ultimate, first of all, what have you been doing? Second of all, UNC Pleiades had a historic 143-game win streak. There's actually an entire website dedicated to, has Pleiades lost? I think that's what it was, and the answer was like, no, forever. So even though that they did lose in the regular season last year, they had a pretty historic run for nationals last year as well. This team knows how to be down and still come and win these games. So don't count them out just because they're back down a break again.
Yeah, we've referenced the semifinal against Colorado. That was the same thing. Lauder taking exception to some of the contact from Zito Fung.
Looking a little frustrated. I think feeling like you always have somebody a little bit on your back when you're kind of trying to catch these unders. UBC does play a backing style of defense, which does allow for these types of things to happen.
Yeah, afterwards, I mean, I cut the disc, so like it doesn't affect. I just, like, you had to go through me. Like, I felt contact the entire time. Okay, yeah, okay.
All right, we ready to play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, coming in at 0.
We saw a couple cards issued at the D3 women's final where someone was actually taken out of the game with a red card. So we'll keep an eye out on that. No cards being issued so far. Riley finding Birdsong. On to Bubel. Riley looking so comfortable in this end zone set right now. Shakuski inside to Lauder. Big hold. Expert timeout call works out. We're tied up.
I really like that end zone set. Birdsong had that Frisbee on the close side of the camera here, and it's so tempting to try to punch it in, but the maturity of Birdsong to work really hard to get that break up off the sideline. I was saying this in D3, but swings win games, so that first swing allows for that easy score in the end zone and for a pivotal hold. So just a wide open throw, because all of UBC's defense had completely committed to the side where the disc was kind of camping out for a little while.
This UNC team's got resolve, Danny. Look at that.
Yeah, they got grit. It's never over until it's over, and right now they're right in it. We got a tie ball game.
Showing some grit and grace on the field is UNC right now. Score tied up at 9s.
Now looking around, we have Cal Poly Slow is down 7-11 to San Diego. This game we got tied up. We've got UW over Utah 13-6. We've got California Santa Barbara in a close match with Georgia, so the 10 seed versus the 19 seed, and that score is 11-10 right now for the women's division.
Georgia, a team not a lot of people have been talking about. I know they're known as the Quincy Booth Show.
Quincy Booth is incredible.
One of the top assists. Yeah, probably will be one of the top assist leaders out here at the tournament. Fiona Cashin now on the Colorado side, so no longer on
6 assists
Georgia.
right now so far.
Oh, Booth?
Yeah.
Turning our eyes back to this contest, we see Bolin back on offense. Perhaps a little bit too much time for Shiraiwa to try to bring that disc in. And so this has been a big game of runs. We've seen that throughout. As Dare, 2-hand stab. You often see cutters try to pancake that catch in and they get run through block, but not in the case of Dare. Riley, who just ran that end zone set, is going to be out on defense. Big grab under pressure for one of the captains, Martha Plain. Russell. Red zone opportunity. Riley. Thought there might have been a call, but it was batted by Madoka Woke. Verona Hua now. 0-2 opportunity. Second possession on this point for this UBC offense. Hecht against Kurohashi right now. Going to give up a bit of size. See if Kurohashi elects to go into the deep area. Shiraiwa going under. But there's a foul called on Friedenberg.
Seems like there's a lot of these type of Ds, or a lot of this kind of pressure on both sides. Both teams playing just a back shoulder. It does make, when the throw's a little bit behind, it can be hard because if the defense sees that they've got that line, they've got their hand in there, but there is contact on the body, so these types of plays do happen.
No, I'm saying I did.
Okay, you said you mostly stopped rotation. That's the only reason why I asked.
Okay.
I disagree. I think I touched the disc and then you clapped your hands down over my hand.
Okay, I feel like we contest. You want to go to observer?
Yes.
What do you think?
Okay. So you asked to come to the observer?
Yes.
Observer's ruling is no foul. Certificate here is no foul.
Sorry, the call was a strip call.
Yeah, it's a strip is a foul, so no strip. Yeah, it's the same thing then. All right, so observer ruling is no strip, no foul.
So the argument is that they are saying that Shiraiwa did not actually stop rotation of the Frisbee, that the hand was able to be there instead.
Shiraiwa took a second to stare at the observer as well. Really not happy with the call. And I want to correct myself. That was Stevens, Abby Stevens, making that block. So this is where UBC is going to have to show some of that moxie and resilience. That call not going your way. How do they respond to that? Plain. Sees their throw taken away by guess who? Shiraiwa getting it back with the block. There's 3 players hovering around Kurohashi. Now that's changed. But that's just the impact 93 has. Wolk going deep. Kurohashi putting this one out. And Wolk can't bring it in with the 2 hands.
It's a nice touch throw. I know Kurohashi likes those kind of touch outside in flicks into space, really well spaced. You could see that maybe Woke was trying to maybe make sure she was in the end zone. They're going to get a chance to get a block right now.
You can see legs getting a bit tired for both sides. This has been a long, grindy point. 3 turnovers apiece. Madison Ong, who's been a bit quiet. We haven't said their name that much. Trying to get involved in the handler space. But that throw is swatted down by Dare.
Now the thing of both these teams playing that kind of small ball dominator end zone is that they both know how to defend it.
Hudson looking for Hecht. Shiraiwa's going to get the second block of the point. Bolin working with Kurohashi. Great combo. And the hold.
Yeah, those two are pretty unstoppable in end zone. Bolin's ability to break the mark in a variety of ways, Mika's Kurohashi's ability to get open in a variety of ways, and Bolin's, as Edward Guo said in the interview, she's very mobile, she's very good in small spaces. It's pretty hard to stop.
Both members of the Team Canada mixed team at Worlds in Australia winning silver.
Thank you for saying winning silver. I appreciate it.
Earning silver?
No, I mean, people usually say, like, well, yeah,
getting silver.
You did technically lose to get silver. We had to do a lot of winning to get there.
That was a long point. UNC's already used the timeout. And some of those offensive players like Riley and Lauder were on that point. Really tight under defense from that UBC side, generating a short field turnover that they're able to take advantage of. Shiraiwa being involved. Had the call not go the way that she wanted, but able to get 2 blocks on that one, helping orchestrate UBC to get the hold, holding a 1-point advantage.
Clearly was fired up after that call, was able to get 2 blocks after. Pretty good response.
I saw the look she gave the observer, not happy about that one, but you channel that into playing. That's the better decision. 3 players from UBC trying to get to the deep space. Birdsong grabs it. What? I don't even know what I just saw.
I think Lynn was going to try to call a foul there, but then stopped.
That was absolutely insane.
I need to get a slow-mo on this. First of all, I'm surprised Lynn maybe didn't call a strip there because it almost looked like it was in Lynn's hands before Birdsong was able to get it. Didn't call it. Let's get another look here. Yeah, it might have been in Lynn's hands. Oh, it's very hard to tell.
It was a foul. Stay here. We're going to ground check it, come out, and once you ground check it, people can start moving. All right.
Pivotal play by Birdsong.
Talking about making instant impact, being back on the field. Bubel trying to shake free, does
good.
just that. Louder, the assist. Big response for UNC. After 4 turnovers apiece on that last point, their offense able to hold quickly, putting pressure back on that UBC O-line.
And if you're UBC, you're feeling like, okay, you were able to apply pressure, you were almost able to get a block, but to kind of have it go that way where you should have gotten a block, it was a 3-on-1. But that Birdsong factor, it's hard to count against it. Again, super slow motion.
I don't remember what happened.
I kind of think that was a strip. Kind of think that's a strip.
Same results.
That's tough. That's tough if you're a UBC fan.
However, if you are a fan of the team from Chapel Hill, you are fired up because that play is going to live on the highlight reels for a long time. Just took my breath away because I really didn't know what happened in real time.
We couldn't keep up. That's the best ultimate. So around the complex, we got Texas up in the open division or the men's division. Texas up 13-11 on Vermont. We've got Massachusetts up 13-11 on Oregon State. We've got Cal Poly Slow 14-11 over UBC men's, and we got Cal losing down 10-12 to Michigan. That's kind of our only upset of this round.
Magnum again. This is a team that did it last year, shocking things with an open early upset against Vermont. They ended up making the bracket. So don't sleep on the team from the Great Lakes. I know some regions, especially on the women's side, less represented. But hey, all teams here are trying to make a run. And Magnum, one of those, trying to do so. Hudson on the mark against Ong. It's a classic Canadian split stack play here. Isling over to Kurohashi. Now Wang coming from the far side. Looking for Shiraiwa. Dare is going to get the block. Great defensive game so far from number 2 in Dark.
Yeah, she's been all over the place, reading that play like a book, able to make that play, keep that position on the inside, and not allowing Shiraiwa to get that disc.
4th year on the squad. Hudson finding Stevens. Stevens looking for Dare. Able to keep that going. Louder crossing over. Our player to watch, and you see Louder going both ways. Now Hua having some discussion with Louder.
Yeah, okay, no, I just got hit enough.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's a foul, no contest. Do we have a stall count we're coming in on?
5, yeah.
We're going to be coming in on 5 with a check.
Louder going around. Bubel also out on this defensive point here. Gets the underneath on Mandy Lee. And that throw is too low, intended for Dare, who got the block earlier. So we're heading into crunch time here. 10-10 the score. We thank you for joining us. either on YouTube or Ultiworld.com. What a contest for you. Only the second round of this tournament. We've already got one tight game in the first round on the showcase field and a second one here. Wang has Kurohashi, telling Kurohashi to go underneath. Lauder read it. Trying to get the block. Now Kurohashi into the end zone for Mandy Lee. Great pressure from Lauder. Just inches away from a block. But the margins, that's how thin they're going to be in this contest with these two heavyweight squads.
I really love the Lauder-Kurohashi matchup. It is giving me everything I was hoping it would give me. There's great pressure. I think Lauder is reading everything Kurohashi's done. Obviously, they've done their homework. They know what to expect here. So we're seeing this play on this open side. Lauder is camping underneath, knowing that Mika's going to, or Kurohashi's going to want to be coming under. Giving that space and really, really racing under. Kurohashi obviously just uses her length and her lank well. And then that classic Kurohashi flick into space for Mandy Lee.
Fans enjoying the sights and sounds of this, and hopefully wherever you are, feel like you're a part of Nationals. There's also, for All Access subscribers, you can check out the Inside Out studio show. Danny and I will be making an appearance later on today, so you can check that out. You want more action. I know if some of you watching on YouTube, you got to go stop what you're doing. Head to ultiworld.com. Get yourself a subscription. There's different ways to subscribe, but you can get all the field pass action, games happening at once. That's 5 games total. The showcase plus the field pass with 4 streams. Go to ultiworld.com and get your subscription right now. Russell looking deep. Good read from Bubel. Lauder back out on offense for UNC. It's Birdsong. We expect to see Birdsong crossing over as this game heads into the latter stages. Russell finding who else but Lauder.
Now, UBC did a good job of taking away the pull play of UNC. Looked like they were trying to isolate Birdsong in space, but the rest of the cutters downfield, recognizing this, all flooded, and then the handlers worked it up to that high side and were able to score easily on that high side. Now, I don't know if that's intentional or if that was the play. Maybe it was like a fake ISO. I love doing fake ISOs, but whatever it was, it worked really well, and UNC got a nice, easy hold. Again, they're working it to the high side here. Sure. So they had the kind of that original flood play. I mean, this huck was obviously could have been contested here, but well read. If you have that outside in edge and the defender's on the inside lane, it is hard to read. Oftentimes, cutters in the end zone will make that cut a little early, but they were able to make that timed cut. Lauder is just obviously a very intelligent player. Timed that cut really well so that backhand didn't have to be rushed and it was into space.
Shakuski, Birdsong, Riley, Lauder, and Russell, who's kind of played both ways out on the field. You can see a zone look being set up. Purposeful pull here in the direction it was trying to go.
Yeah, forcing UBC to make this reset up into the wind. Definitely intentional. Blade look just out of the reaches of Kurohashi here.
You got a 5-headed monster of a coaching staff. They're going to dial up something like that. And that immediately pays dividends as that throw went towards UBC's territory. So it didn't actually go into UNC's area. Birdsong left hand. Riley resetting, finding Hudson. Lauder to get into the turf to grab that one, but will keep possession alive. This is a break chance, an important one late in this game. Lauder again, having to keep things alive. Hecht finds Riley. Riley's lefty moving things forward, but not able to get any more downfield looks. Lauder now. Goes with the around, and UNC getting a late break. Shakuski on the receiving end. Lauder doing a lot of work there on that point.
UNC very hyped up right now. After both teams kind of settling into the pattern of holding, they come out with this, as you said, very intelligent pull, very effective zone. It was a first pass turnover, and then very, very patient end zone to get into this very necessary late game break. You can see the frustration on the UBC players, feeling a little bit like things aren't just clicking as much as they're used to them clicking. Again, the wind isn't that much of a factor, but being able to kind of trap your players on the sideline in that zone does take UBC out of what they do best, and that's isolation cutting. The UNC cheers are loud here at the Skagit River Complex. UBC team looking a little bit more quiet.
That's an important break late in the game. They're forcing UBC to go to some other personnel. Emily Marshall, haven't seen them play a single offensive point, but out on the field. This is the second offensive point. So not usually out there on that side of the disc.
And usually says that she doesn't even like it out there, but obviously really helpful on an offense, especially in a zone.
Birdsong, Riley, Shakuski, all out there. They're all in the cup, so they're gonna, if they get scored on, they're gonna have to play back out on offense, spending a lot of energy trying to hover around the disc. Birdsong crumbles to the turf.
Something you see quite often when you run a zone like this, and the zone offense set is more handler driven, is you do see crashes and you do see collisions. Finding a nice pass to Claire Wang down there on the side, and a little high release. And just out of the hands of Marshall, with Birdsong hunting in the area.
Birdsong's mere presence making things difficult right now. Riley. I think Hecht, as this is another break opportunity for this UNC side, would be their third consecutive. Riley, one of the members of this team, has played for Raleigh Phoenix, a top women's club team. Ashakuski going deep. And will now air it out to that area. And a big grab from Shakuski. Just had the goal earlier to get the break. Able to go up on Ella Bolin. And has a disc now on the far side. Big zippy inside shot to Lauder. A lot of players around the disc for UNC right now. Riley looking for Hudson, some miscommunication.
Pivotal opportunity there, missed for UNC to go up 2 breaks. Right now UBC with the opportunity to hold with a big backhand hook by Bolin.
Bolin finds Wang. Wang quite short of the end zone. A lot of players trying to recover. Bolin looking to the open side for Kurahashi, or excuse me. Oh, that's Kurahashi.
Know thy name, Theo One.
We're all tied up at 12.
This UBC line having to log a lot of minutes. But speaking of logging a lot of minutes, this is Birdsong all over this game. Great pressure D, preventing that first easy hold from UBC. Crazy catch. Back-to-back breaks would have been absolutely devastating, but a miscue in the reset space allowed UBC to go all the way back down the other way to score for the very, very important hold.
Kurahashi collecting her 5th goal of the game. UBC calling a timeout here will be their first of the half.
Both teams have 1 timeout left.
You know, certain people having to log a lot of minutes. Right now, Mika Kurahashi being one of them. These kind of games, you kind of like, as a number 1 seed, you don't love having to play the number 2 seed in your pool right away. It doesn't really allow for either team really to kind of get their legs underneath them before having their, in theory, toughest matchup of their entire pool play. But if they can come away with this win, it's setting them up for a lot of success moving down through pool play.
No more poaching stuff off the first time. They know they want to just throw it there. So whoever's on,
So looking around, we have San Diego with the 15-9 victory over Cal Poly Slow.
And this is what you came for, folks. Ultiworld.com, YouTube. This is Universe Point, the 1 seed versus the 8 seed right now. Soft cap going on the previous point.
So yeah, UBC elected to take timeout because, you know, you only got 1 point left. I usually pray to the Ulti gods for Universe Point games. As a sports fan, this is all we want. This is all we look for.
Hudson, Birdsong, Shakuski, Riley, Bubel, Louder, and Wei are the 7 on the line for UNC on this offensive point on Universe. Kurahashi, Bolin, Zito Fung, Jung, Marshall, Wang. Trying to find the last person out there. I believe that's Brielle Wong. Remember, this is the first game for both teams. They're gonna they have to do the 1-2 matchup early here. Birdsong's throw, knocked down by Bolin, underthrown. Looking for Hudson.
Just off the hands of Kurahashi, both teams electing to shoot. Full confidence here in Universe Point.
Why not? This is what the people came for. Let's see what UNC dials up here. Marshall on the mark against Shakuski. Riley going up line and sets it inside. Looking for Louder. Zito Fung once again on that matchup. Shakuski coming out of the stack. Both teams have had 1 turnover on this point. Riley. Here the defense cheers from the sidelines. Some of the UBC men's team has joined. Louder going to catch the disc, but a pick called by Zito Fung.
It looks like potentially a stall down situation as well. Louder involved in a lot of these calls. Not saying that they're the one causing it or anything, but when you're a high possession player, you just happen to be involved in it a little bit more.
So there's a contested stall, so regardless of that come here, it'll go back here.
So contested stall.
Oh.
Word of 10, not just the T of 10.
So if the resolution of this is it's retracted or no stall, then we'll come here and see what this is. Otherwise,
Both observers in action.
Do you want to leave it as a contest, or you want to come to the observer?
If you had defective or heard anything.
Do you have anything?
The stall.
All right. Observer's ruling it was a stall, so it will be a turnover here.
Wild turn of events. If you are pretty certain or even sort of certain, you should go to the observer in those circumstances, because getting the opportunity to get the disc back is crazy incredible opportunity for UBC.
Can they be poised? Throws hanging up. Kurahashi is there, has Jung going deep. Trying to direct traffic, but it's a reset to Bolin. That first turnover from UBC on this point was a high throw. They're trying to settle things down now. Shakuski on the mark. Great pressure from Riley. Now it's over to Wang. Wang's throw grabbed by Kurahashi, had to get down to the turf. Jung finds a very open Wang. Going up the line. UBC staves off an upset. They take down UNC 13-12.
What an incredible game. Breaks both ways. Huge plays. If you're UBC, you're kind of avenging the loss of all of your veterans and alum from years past. What a big moment for both teams, honestly.
UNC battled throughout. Actually took a 12-11 lead, but the poise from the Thunderbirds only dropped one game all year and able to get a huge victory.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at the stall call, because normally it's 7 seconds is what people usually call. So stall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I count very slowly. So normally people count it at about 7 seconds to get to 10. That's generally people count fast, but that feels like it's a good call. And UBC able to march it all the way back. UNC had them on the brink, on the edge. Multiple turnovers in that universe point. UBC slaying the first dragon of their whole tournament.
And once again, if you enjoyed this coverage, you need to head to ultiworld.com. Get yourself a subscription. More action to come here. Showcase Field Pass, the Inside Out Studio Show. Absolute scenes right now in the Showcase Field. That's 2 straight Universe Point games. UBC coming out on top here with a huge victory as we look at the game stats. Lots of break chances for UNC, able to deliver on 4 of them. But UBC getting the critical break to take the game on the final point.
You did talk about having, starting on defense almost being people's preference.
On Universe.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, yeah, so many break chances for UNC. They got to be pretty proud about how they battled into that game.
A great battle, of course, on this field. UBC coming out on top. You mentioned a little bit avenging some of the demons of the past. We talked about their game where they dropped to Tufts that was very rain delayed on that lightning-filled first day last year in 2024 out in Wisconsin. So UBC getting the victory here on Universe, on defense, as we're joined by the star of the game for UBC, Mika Kurahashi. Mika, thank you for joining us. First of all, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
You broke to win on Universe there. Talk about the resolve of your team, being able to have your backs against the wall and then taking the victory.
I think we've been really trying to, as a team, buy into the fact that we're going to just kind of take each game point by point. So not worrying too much about what's happened in the points previous or what's to come. Just kind of taking it one point at a time. And I think we were really able to do that. And that kind of mental fortitude allowed us to be able to stay composed and battle back to take the game.
Now, Mika, last time you played UNC, you had 2 goals and 3 assists, so you like having big games against this team, and I think in this last point specifically, you were under a lot of pressure and you're making a lot of big plays. What does it mean for you, and what does it mean for the team to be able to have this victory over UNC?
I think personally I was really excited for this matchup because we haven't played UNC since back in my first year, and so I was really excited to get a chance to play them again. And then, what was the rest of your question again?
Just like the fact that people were kind of all over you. Like teams have a target on your back. They're going to be trying to create defensive pressure for you especially. And you did have people kind of all over you. You are getting double teamed and that kind of thing. But you were able to make some big plays on this last point. Like what is it about you that feels like these moments get big and you just get bigger?
I think I try not to like think too much in general, just do my thing. And I mean, to be honest, I think my teammates' ability to really like utilize the fact that they were kind of poaching onto me really allowed us to be successful for a lot of the game, like just hitting the open person. And then I guess like, I don't know, when it comes down to it, I'll catch the disc when it gets thrown to me as best as I can.
Mika, as a leader on this team, what's the messaging as you move forward throughout this tournament?
I guess we're ready this year, and I think, we're just really excited for what's to come.
We're excited here out at Ultiworld as well, seeing how far you can go as a team. We thank you for joining us, and congrats on the big win.
Thank you so much.
UBC fans out in full force here as they get the huge victory. Danny and I having the pleasure to call this absolute great contest. Big plays both ways. Erica Birdsong making the return in style. But it was just not enough on this day as UBC getting the 1-point victory. Any final thoughts, Danny?
Well, I think both teams, I know that one team comes away with the victory here, but if you're UNC, you got to be feeling pretty good about your first game at Nationals, forcing Universe against the number 1 seed after you're coming in as the number 8 seed. Obviously hard to lose on Universe like that, especially when you start on O, but both teams are going to have a great Nationals.
UBC hoping to spark a big run here as they take down the defending champions 13-12.